Alrighty then, what is going on everybody? It's your boy Sunny here coming at you guys with another Neverwinter video, and today we're going to be talking about PvP. Now, I want to make this point as clear as possible. By the title of the video, you can tell this is not going to be a build. You're going to have to play around with it yourself, but I want to give you guys some of the information I acquired, from a couple people. Shout out to specifically, if we come over here to PvP and standings, Trent the Barbarian. If you want to do more in-depth PvP, you're just gonna have to experiment, or hit this guy up, or join the Facebook group, the Barbarians of Neverwinter, I believe it's called. But anyway, this is the information that I was told, and do a little research myself, and just a couple things that I've seen in general. So I want to make that clear. By any means, am I a PvP guy? I'm not going to be making this. Might be the last PvP video for a while, just due to the fact is I don't play PvP. It's not my forte. It's not my thing. But I do want to bring some information out there because it seems to be none. You know what I mean? Unless you specifically go on the Facebook website and ask. But even then, it was kind of limited. A lot of people I can understand are, they like to keep their stuff private, and because they feel it's one of those things that you have to learn. But I was able to get a couple things from him, a couple tips, so shout out to him because he didn't have to help, but he did, and I appreciate that. Okay, now without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. For gear, of course, I'm gonna recommend the PvP gear. You can actually get this in the shop. I'm just gonna show you real quick. If you go to equipment packs, epic, and you're gonna want to go for right here, the Star Rover gear pack. They're pretty cheap. You could pick up the 4 set if you really wanted to, but I'm gonna talk to you guys about, so I mean, you can get 3 boxes or whatever for fairly 100k if you want your whole set, 100k for your whole set. But for your arms, I do recommend the Templars of the Twilight Bracers, just for the encounter powers, do 3% more damage, and these are the upgraded variants over the Terror Grips. I have the Terror Grips. I would suggest maybe using them. The only problem with the Terror Grips is their stats are just so low because they're only 756. So I'd recommend, if you do want to play PvP and you're serious, you're just gonna have to keep farming your Miis until you get those bracers. So that's going to be gear on the left side. For the right sides, for rings, I've seen a couple different things. I've seen people use these defense and awareness just to increase their HP and their defense, but I've also seen, the typical damage dealing rings, so you're going to have to play around with them, balance out your stats a little bit. For the neck and waist and the artifacts and everything, you're going to want to run the demo set. Maybe you might, like I said, everything I'm saying it's not 100% accurate, but it's just from what I've seen. And if I am wrong about something, or if I missed something, please let me know down in the comments. But I just want to give this kind of a guide-esque video, if you know what I mean. But in the rest of the artifacts, the only thing I would say you recommend that you definitely want to get is the Wheel of Elements for your primary. The last two, just get something with armor pen and crit on them. Truthfully, those are going to be your best stats. And I'm talking about the stats here. This is what Trent told me that you guys are going to want to stack. That is armor pen, crit, HP, and defense. Okay, those are the big things in PvP. He definitely knows what he's talking about because, you know what I mean, he's on the first page, second to Eric's, who's another freaking god barbarian. Truthfully, the guy's a beast. But anyway, for your dailies, we're going to run Savage Advanced and Avalanche of Steel, of course. Your at-wills are still Relentless Slash and Sure Strike. For your class features, I would definitely run Trample the Fallen. And, that second one I would play around. See how Barb Strike works for you, or see how Steel Blitz works for you. Just test around the second one. There's a couple that you might be able to use. Maybe Bravery. But in terms of encounters, I would Punish and Charge, Indomitable Strike, and Bloodletter. Of course, you want to take the top row of feats, but that's that. Now for a rotation, you want to always make sure that you hit them with the punish and charge first, just due to the fact you want to proc Trample the Fallen, followed up by your 2 other encounter powers. And for your mounts, I would assume that you would just want the ones that I have here, ones that are going to give you kind of like a heal over time effect. So Barbarian's Revelry, Oppressor's Retreat, Champion's Return, Survivor's Blessing, and Gladiator's Guile. You know, I would probably run these 5. I think these would be a pretty solid 5 to run. A lot of these give you HP back and heal you over time, which is big in PvP. In terms of moving on to weapon enchantments and stuff like that, I've seen a couple people use the Bronze Word. I've seen a couple people use the Vorpal and the Biothorn. I'd say those are the top 3 I've seen. In terms of mounts, you know, if you're trying to go crazy with it, and this is something you really want to get into on a Barbarian, the Lion mount is still probably one of the top tier combat mount powers. Unfortunately though, if you're looking to get that, I think it's pretty damn expensive now, but it's always been relatively expensive, but it's actually a pretty cool mount. You know, it's 7.8 here, but I'm pretty sure you can get it from the mount packs, if I'm not correct. So maybe if you do want to look into it, I would go with this. Actually, it's cheaper. I would go with the Glorious pack. But anyway, that's if you're trying to go crazy with it. Like, PvP is something you really want to go after, because PvP is one of those things where you just got to work at it and improve on it. It's an entirely different play style than PvE, of course, so you're going to have to, if you do want to make the switch, you're going to have to go full force with it. It's not really something you can kind of half-ass, unfortunately, or you're just going to get wrecked, and there's not much you can do, because everybody else in there is gear appropriate, and you know they're serious about it, they're with it. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, I don't want to make this video too long, but yeah. Oh, I forgot. You're probably asking, okay, well, what about armor enchantment? I would go with the Shadow Clatter here, is really good. Maybe you might be able to get away with the Negation or Elven Battle is another. So I'd say those are maybe like your top 3, but the Shadow Clatter here is pretty good. I'd say that's number 1. And then the Elven Battle and Negation, they're just my, you know, kind of assumptions there. But like I said, I'm not a PvP guy myself, so those kind of 2 bottom ones are just kind of things that I would assume. But I could be wrong, you know what I mean? And if I am wrong, like I said, I do apologize. But I was getting asked about making a PvP video and a PvP build, but I don't play PvP to make a specific build. But I want to bring you guys more or less a guide to put you in the right direction of playing PvP. If you do really want to take into playing PvP more, maybe you can hit up these guys, you know, Trent, the Barbarian, or Eric's, but I would recommend really joining the group on Facebook. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. If you did enjoy, and you know, if this did help you any little bit in the PvP realm, let me know down in the comments below, and if I missed something, you know, put it down below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.